And to answer the last question, I'd like to say that we're very honored that Dr. Jaishankar chose Europe and indeed France to kick off this diplomatic year 2026. And now when it comes to work in progress at the Quai d'Orsay, of course, our work didn't start today or yesterday. But what I said this morning was that indeed we have started thinking about how we might defend our interests if our interests came to be threatened, and if France and the EU were to be intimidated, wherever that intimidation might stem from. And that is something I mentioned to my Polish and German partners, and indeed that we will bring to our European partners, because that is the question being raised. How can Europe, how can the EU deter from any form of threat to its security or its interests? So there's nothing new about that, in a sense. And then when it comes to Greenland specifically, again, I don't want to repeat myself. And the President of the Republic himself went there in June of last year. I went in August to reaffirm our support to the Danish and Greenlandic authorities. And we announced the opening of a consulate as well in Greenland. And as the Danish Prime Minister said, Greenland is not for sale. Greenland is not for the taking. Long gone are the times where you could buy or sell Louisiana. And Denmark can count on the solidarity of European countries. The heads of state and government said so in a shared statement yesterday. It is clear that it falls to Greenlanders to determine their own fate, as well as to the Kingdom of Denmark. Of course, in keeping with the principles of the UN Charter, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the inviolability of borders. And all of these aspects of the article need to be discussed within the NATO Council. And I am pleased that our counterpart, Marco Rubio, announced his wish to discuss this with the Danish government. That would be very useful. NATO is the most important military alliance in the world, and 2025 was an important year, the most important year for NATO, with the enlargement of NATO. Finland, Sweden joined NATO. Second, we also celebrated the most successful NATO summit in a long time in The Hague, where we decided to commit up to 5% of EU countries' GDPs to the military. And this was something that President Trump wanted to see from Germany as well. And the federal government said from the very beginning that it was prepared to do more to increase military spending. And that summit was highly successful. During that summit, we all reiterated our attachment to Article 5, as did the United States yet again. And I'd like to say that President Trump stated very clearly that he believed in NATO, that the U.S. supported the military alliance and an alliance with Europe. And we believe in the future of the alliance, and I have no doubt that we shall cooperate very closely and that our alliance will be what it always has been, the best military alliance in the world. I agree. The Prime Minister Donald Tusk signed the statement that was just mentioned. And I would just add, on issues of land, peace, and war, these issues are in the purview of the US Congress, and I would like to know the point of view of Congress on Greenland. A question was asked of me on the presence of German troops in Poland.
Mojego kraju w Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckim, w Korpusie Północno-Zachodnim w Szczecinie.
And I would like to remind you that we had German troops in Stettin, and that predates our NATO accession, as well as in Bydgoszcz, my town. And recently we organized military exercises in Poland, and it was actually a German general commanding Polish tanks. And the reverse occurred as well. We're very grateful to Germany for the presence of German troops in Rzeszów, at the Jaishankar airfield, and they participated in the anti-air defense of that airfield, which is very important in the context of support to Ukraine. Now, I won't go into detail, but if we have a ceasefire and if we have a monitoring operation, well, in that case, a number of countries have already stated that they would be a part of preparatory action in Poland. France is among them. But this is something we will be discussing with our chiefs of staff. But it would not be new when it comes to Germany.
It was a choice which reflected our belief that this relationship with Europe is really poised to grow to the next level. And when I look back, even at the last few weeks, we've had discussions within India on matters dealing with Europe, the FTA, technology issues, semiconductors, railways, defense, aviation, railways. So it's a very substantive relationship, much more that can be done. But other than that, I think there is a larger discussion today that the world needs about the global order. What kind of world do we want to live in? What would be the norms and the other related issues? And because I think Europe is such an important player in global politics, it's also necessary that India strengthen its relationship. I think we can bring more stability both into the international economy and global politics. And that really is why I'm here. I should add, by the way, as soon as I get back, that we would be expecting to welcome Chancellor Merz in India. And as I said, soon President Macron will be there. A number of other European leaders are also slated to visit India very shortly.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.